Hi guys, welcome back to the Artificer channel. First I want to apologise. It's been quite a while since I did the part 3. It's finally here. I'm afraid that I had some complications with my editing software, and so, I thank you for bearing with me and being patient. I wasn't able to get out an update because I haven't got that feature yet available. But let's continue on with the build and finish off this helicopter. So in hindsight, I would say not putting the pump on the table would be probably the best choice. That's why it's all fuzzy. But this was just me doing a quick spray of the helicopter using Vallejo silver. It's a really nice looking finish as well. It makes it look aluminium in its appearance. Thankful for the Vallejo colour because it really makes doing jobs like this so much easier. The paint evenly spreads around these really quite delicate structures within the helicopter's spine, and it actually looks quite nice in the end when finished. Of course, I did a quick spray on the sprue of all the other areas that needed to have an aluminium finish. And then it was just finishing off the engine, just respraying it. I used a slightly different colour. This was Vallejo steel, but as you can see there's quite a lot of nice detail that comes through on the engine itself. I was quite happy with what I came up with in the end. Back to using more silver. I was just doing the cockpit flooring. Just wanted to kind of experiment with some ideas. I didn't want it to look too plain. I looked at a lot of different references to get an idea of what I would be painting, what it would look like. And in the end, I opted to just kind of give everything a silver coat underneath, just in case there was any chipping, it would show through silver instead of plastic. So I covered the entire canopy and cockpit in the silver. Again, trying to mimic that aluminium finish, I was just trying out some ideas, painting in horizontal lines to make it look like aluminium bent round. And I think it worked out quite nicely in the end. Using the metallic black from Vallejo, I wanted to just see what it would look like with the control panel. So I applied a layer of it here on the instrument panel. I also applied it onto the section that holds the instrument panel. So using some pastel colors, I would be trying to experiment at this point with using different colors. And it didn't quite get the effect that I wanted. As you can see, it's too diluted, so you want to make it a lot thicker when you cut up the pastels. I'll do a tutorial on that soon. I obviously was able to improve since that time. This was last year during lockdown, so this was one of the first choppers I actually built. After experimenting, as you can see, I decided to abandon the idea of the metallic metal and just go for the flat black. Same on the instrument panel as well. This was the fun part, painting on the actual dials with white. So I used the Vallejo flat white. And it worked out quite well in the beginning. Obviously, this is the worst paintbrush to use because, as you can see at the end, they are bristles that are frayed, which means that you're going to get the odd slip up. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened to me. So I switched to a different paintbrush and I managed to get a little bit better of an effect on the dials. But as I said, practice makes permanent. You've got to be careful. I did slip up just about here, and yeah, it shows. So I think it's always important to just find a kind of an old kit with an instrument panel and just practice on it, or just practice on a flat bit of plastic or a flat bit of wood. It's a really good way of checking to see how your technique is. And again, it's just about finishing off the little details. What I love about instrument panels is you can follow the reference photos, but I found that the artistic interpretation is always a lot of fun. Some areas I went back over, as I said before, this takes time. And some areas I was happy with, some I was not. I tried a few things. I had the wrong kind of paintbrush for it though. As I mentioned before, there's too many frayed areas, which means if you're trying to draw a line to make it look like a dial pointer, it's going to be a little bit rough. I tried smudging it to give it a little bit more depth to it. Yeah, that didn't quite work out the way I wanted it. In the end, I was kind of happy with it, but it doesn't look great. So I thought I'd just leave it to the side for a second and then just continue on painting the rest of the stuff on the sprue. So the joysticks for the helicopter, and then later on I went over them, added some kind of buttons to them as well using historical references. And then of course decided to paint the guns as well. So with the engine I wasn't quite happy, so I decided to add some extra pieces which I'd found from another kit that I was working on. Just some resin parts, and that's exactly what I did to make it look more realistic. And then once fitting the engine inside the helicopter, it just looks a little bit better. After a nice coat of green as well, the chopper was really starting to come to life. I believe I used olive green, or it was a dark green I used from Vallejo. Now I did try chipping medium, and as you can see on the front of the fuselage, there's a bit of cracking, as you can see there on the front of the canopy. And that was frustrating, because the mixture of chipping medium wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be. It was a little bit too thick. So there was too much chipping, so I had to repaint that eventually. But overall, it looks quite nice with the silver contrast against the green, and I wanted that engine to be separate from the beginning. Now, the next part was a little more challenging, was putting on the guns, the gun pods, and I did it wrong. The ammo belt feeders, which I didn't know went into that area, so later on I corrected the problem. But they fit quite snug on the end of the helicopter. And then, of course, I managed to finish off the control panel and make it look a little bit better than it was before. And also painted the seats up to make them look a little bit more realistic in terms of leather seating. It worked out much better than I was expecting it would. And then I added the pilots in, and these ones I actually cast from PJ Productions, so this was done in Milliput. As you can see, I reformed the foot here, and then painted them green, added some harnesses, even gave them some sunglasses, and then popped them in the helicopter and just put the canopy on randomly just to see what it would look like. And this was in the kind of nearly finished stage. And then later on I was able to kind of complete more of it and started to put the decals on. corrected the issue with the machine guns, as you can see there with the ammo belts. They're lower down now. Added the decals on the top, and finished off the pilots also. And this was it, the finished product. And I was quite happy in the end. It was a very challenging build. I had limited resources at the time, but with what I had to contend with, I was quite happy. It's not quite finished in the sense that it needs to have some weathering now. But overall, at the moment, I'm quite happy with it. Still deciding on what to do with the rotor blades, what colours to paint them. Maybe give them a bit more depth, possibly black, but I have seen before that it is silver. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I'll be putting out many more of these videos, and look forward to the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.